This is Sadako running one of her most popular add-ons, Reiko's watch, and this is Sadako without it. Do you actually notice the difference? Be honest. Are you using an add-on because you've actually seen what it does compared to base kit? Or are you using it because someone told you it's good? When you play these clips on their own, it's almost impossible to catch. But when you play them side by side, it reveals the truth. And that's the problem with Sadako. You can't truly understand what her add-ons do until you see them with your own eyes. Once I started testing these, I realized that some of her most popular add-ons aren't actually that good, while some of the add-ons that nobody talks about are actually pretty fire. Whether you specialize in a ruthless condemn playstyle, or a pure stealth playstyle, or maybe an aggressive chase playstyle, there are add-ons that you're probably ignoring. I've broken down her entire list of add-ons into 5 distinct playstyles. We're gonna go rapid fire through all of them and give you visual proof, ending with an add-on so bad it's getting its own dedicated category. So stop sabotaging your own matches with bad advice, and let's lock in your perfect Sadako build. Starting with her chase add-ons. Chase add-ons assist you with getting downs faster. And because Sadako isn't really a strong killer in chase naturally, Sadako mains will use at least one add-on from this category, if not 2. Kicking things off with the gold standard, right off the bat, Bloody Fingernails. This increases the speed boost duration after projection by 50%. This is by far Sadako's best add-on, and what can I really say about this add-on that hasn't yet been said? For most Sadako mains, this add-on never leaves their build. And when you look at what Bloody Fingernails does side by side, it's no wonder why people love this add-on so much. Almost every single survivor is going to be running some sort of exhaustion perk, and if you don't have Bloody Fingernails, it's just so easy for a survivor to run to a safe tile. But with it, you can catch up to pre-running survivors and maybe even mix in a mid-chase teleport to catch them off guard. I personally struggle to enjoy her gameplay when I don't have it equipped. Like, the speed boost is way too critical. I believe some version of Bloody Fingernails should become base kit, but until they make that change, I'll continue to run it. This add-on is amazing. While Bloody Fingernails is miles above any other add-on, Reiko's watch is one of those chase add-ons that everyone seems to gravitate towards. This is because of Sadako's mind game that involves her invisibility. When you're playing as Sadako and her hands become invisible on your screen, you are invisible to survivors. Because of that, there is a mind game where you can double back and catch survivors off guard while you're invisible. Reiko's watch increases the duration of your invisibility while demanifested by 25%. So a lot of Sadako mains run this to give them a longer amount of time to pull off these mind games. This add-on can be beneficial, but when you compare it side by side to the base kit version, it just doesn't seem as powerful as people make it out to be. You definitely get a little more time while invisible, but it's hard to justify giving it an add-on slot because of that. For me, Reiko's watch is mid. After seeing visual proof, I actually prefer Mother's Mirror. This increases the duration of your intermittent invisibility by 2 seconds after manifesting. Normally, after manifesting, you get 3 blinks where you go in and out of invisibility. With Mother's Mirror, you get 4. That really just gives you one more chance to do a quick double back at a small loop. It's definitely harder to do Sadako's mind game at tiles when you're already manifested, but in general, I really like this add-on because it gives you a little more value than Reiko's watch. I still think this add-on is mid, but I do think it's underrated because I really don't see a lot of people talking about it. But not all invisibility add-ons are created equal. Take Old Newspaper, for example, which increases your duration of your full invisibility after manifesting by 33%. This is another one of those add-ons that you need to see side by side to understand what it does, and, well, it doesn't do much. The difference is negligible, making this, in my mind, a wasted add-on. Save your slots, this add-on is bad. Now, after all those invisibility add-ons, let's talk about an add-on that's actually a little more unique. Telephone. It makes survivors suffer a 3% hindered effect for 3 seconds when you manifest within 7 meters of them. I was really hoping this add-on would be incredibly strong, but the hinder effect just doesn't seem to do a whole lot. I tested it as both killer and survivor, and as survivor, it really didn't affect my looping at all. There are a few situations where you might get a hit right before someone would have made it to a pallet, but oftentimes you will just be frustrated because you still get a pallet slammed in your face. It's safe to say this add-on is mid. Chase add-ons are essential for getting quick downs, but what if you prefer to lean into Sadako's signature mechanic? If you're the type of player who would rather build up Condemn than chase people all around the map, this next group of add-ons will suit you perfectly. If you want want pure condemn, you have to look into the ring drawing. Hooking a survivor that's carrying a tape will increase the condemn on all other survivors by 1 stack. I love this add-on because it creates a rare punishment for holding a tape. Good survivor teams will almost always carry a tape, and this add-on actively turns that strategy against them. If you're going for a strict condemn playstyle, you have to try out this add-on. It forces a brutal lose-lose situation. Survivors have to grab tapes to manage their own condemn, but if you catch them and hook them, the entire team suffers. It snowballs pressure incredibly well across the map, and it punishes survivors for interacting with the TVs, which is the main source of counterplay. The ring drawing is good. While ring drawing capitalizes on survivors holding tapes, Wellstone and Cabin Sign try to keep your TVs on to maintain consistent condemn pressure. They can be easily lumped together because they serve the exact same purpose. Wellstone reduces the time it takes for your TVs to turn back on after they're turned off by a survivor for 7 seconds. Cabin Sign reduces the time it takes your TVs to turn back on after you use a projection by 4.5 seconds. But neither of these feel like they make much of a difference at all. When a survivor turns off your TV, it stays off for 70 seconds. Shaving 7 seconds off that cooldown is not really noticeable, and the exact same issue applies to your teleport. When you project to your TV, it stays off for 45 seconds, so lowering it to 40.5 seconds just makes it feel slightly shorter, which I guess is better than nothing, but wasting an entire add-on slot for such a minimal time save just doesn't feel worth it. Both Wellstone and Cabin Sign are bad. If you want to apply more condemn pressure, you might look at running videotape copy. This extends the radius that your TVs can condemn survivors by 2 meters. I originally thought this add-on would be pretty good. I mean, who could hate an add-on that extends your ability to condemn someone? But when you actually test it, those extra 2 meters barely do anything. I was very underwhelmed. Like, if you slap this on, it's not the end of the world. You maybe will catch 1 or 2 people in that extra 2 meters of radius, but odds are you probably won't, and you probably won't notice this add-on. The videotape copy is mid. Condemning is great, but what if you play Sadako as more of a stealth killer? She doesn't have a ton of options here, but there are a couple add-ons that lean heavily into stealth. The one you might have messed around with before is Well Water. Well Water increases the duration of your undetectable status by 2 seconds after manifesting. If you love to play a stealthy style, you've probably either used this or are thinking about using this, but I'm here to tell you, don't. When you see what this add-on looks like to survivors, compared to its base kit power, I can't really find a reason you would ever want to run this. It's just not needed. Sadako is already a tricky killer to deal with while manifesting because she's blinking in and out of invisibility. Having undetectable for an extra 2 seconds is the least of a survivor's concerns, because if you are manifesting, you're probably close enough that they can already see you anyways. The only time this might provide a slight benefit is right after you come out of a TV, but even then it just feels a little too niche. Her base kit undetectable is more than enough in my opinion. There is no need to waste a slot upgrading it. Well Water is bad. Instead of Well Water, you should be running Clump of Hair. This reduces the range at which you are visible to survivors when demanifested by 6 meters. So base kit survivors can see you approaching from 24 meters away. This drops the visibility down to 18. I had never run this add-on before in my life, but when we tested it, the difference was actually pretty sizable. It's tough because going against the current meta, which is Sprint Burst, or going up against a Swift that's on comms with each other definitely makes this add-on less effective, but I really do like this add-on. It's hard to truly quantify how much value this will get in a match, but it constantly catches survivors off guard. I would say this is the superior stealth add-on, and I think Clump of Hair is good. While stealth and condemn are distinct playstyles, some players prioritize pure information. Having a constant read on where survivors are at all times drastically helps the macro game, which just allows you to make smarter decisions on when and where to teleport. This brings us to our information add-ons. For tracking, Mother's Comb is essentially your training wheels add-on. This highlights the auras of all turned off TVs in yellow and triggers a loud noise notification whenever a TV is turned off. If you're not yet comfortable with the macro game of Sadako, this should probably stay in your build until you get that map awareness. It gives you a loud notification the moment a tape is pulled, so even the most oblivious killers will notice it. This immediately tells you that a survivor's about to either work on the generator that's right by that TV, or they just grabbed a tape to clear their condemn stacks, which is very valuable. Some people watching this video no longer need to use use it, because if you're keeping a close eye on your HUD and you're naturally noticing when TVs disappear, you should save the add-on slot and run something a little more impactful. But when it comes to raw information, this is definitely one of the better options. Mother's Comb is good. Next up is the tape editing deck. This causes survivors to start the trial with a VHS tape. They have to bring that tape to the TV farthest from their current location, and the auras of survivors inserting a tape are revealed to you for 6 seconds. You know those super powerful add-ons that killers like Unknown, Wesker, and Singularity have, where you start the game with the debuff and you have to clear it right away? I think that's what this add-on was trying to be, but it falls a little bit flat. Having the tape in your hand isn't really a debuff. I mean, good survivors are going to go and grab a tape as soon as possible anyways. The one positive is that you're able to see the aura of survivors that have just turned in a tape, but how useful is that really? You're getting the aura of a survivor that's just cleared their condemn pressure. As Sadako, you'd much rather want to target someone who has a lot of condemn stacks. This add-on isn't completely useless, I just wish it showed the aura of survivors that pulled tapes rather than ones that turned them in. The tape editing deck is mid. Then we have Distorted Photo, which causes all survivors within 16 meters of your manifestation to scream and reveal their auras for 4 seconds. Maybe in a vacuum this add-on would be decent, but it just doesn't work well with Sadako's actual playstyle. When you're manifesting, you usually already have a survivor right in your sights, so you don't really need them to scream or to see their auras. I guess you could constantly manifest and demanifest while walking around the map, but if you have good map sense and a solid understanding of Sadako's macro game, you should already kind of have a rough idea on where survivors are. Like, you don't need to spam your power to get that information. This add-on might be helpful for some newer players, but for the majority of people, it falls short. Distorted Photo is just another mid add-on. Finally, we have the Iridescent Remote Control. With this add-on, the auras of all survivors within a 12-meter radius of a powered TV are revealed to you for 7 seconds after a projection. This add-on's great because it puts a face to the name, so to speak. Usually when you teleport and a survivor is near a TV, you see the gray ring highlight around them on the HUD. So you know they're by a TV, but you don't know which one. The remote control will reveal their actual aura, which is incredibly powerful. If a survivor is being greedy and trying to finish a gen while ignoring a TV, you can teleport to every other TV but that one and put a ton of condemn on them. Or maybe you see the aura of a survivor running to the TV to pull a tape. In that case, you can teleport to that TV before they have the chance. And odds are you can get a free hit from it too if they don't run away fast enough. When it comes to information, this add-on is really unmatched. It might even be borderline unhealthy at times, because whenever I get creative with my builds and take this add-on off, I usually wish at some point in the game that I had it. The remote control is amazing. The next category of add-ons isn't really a playstyle. I like to classify these as annoying. These exist purely to inflict status effects or mess with survivors' heads. The first add-on in this group is Yoshi's Fishing Net. This causes survivors to suffer from the blindness effect after they have at least 4 stacks of condemn. I actually really like this add-on. The beauty of it comes into play once a survivor's been hooked and their condemn stacks have been locked in. When you hook a survivor for the first time, you lock in 3 stacks of condemn. When you hook them for a second time, you can permanently lock in 4 or more stacks. This means at a certain point in the match, you can make survivors permanently blind. They can still see the auras of the TVs, but that's about it. It can be really annoying for survivors to deal with, and it's highly effective for your gameplay. Yoshi's Fishing Net is good. Next, we have 2 add-ons that do very similar things: Sea-Soaked Cloth and Rickety Pinwheel. The cloth applies blindness, and the pinwheel applies oblivious to survivors that are standing near a powered TV. This isn't the worst effect in the world, but I really don't care for either of these add-ons because they actively promote survivors to turn off your TVs. The main counter to Sadako is keeping her TVs turned off. If a survivor is standing within the range of a powered TV and they're not turning them off, there's no need to give survivors the incentive to turn them off. I really don't think I need to elaborate too much more on these add-ons. Sea-Soaked Cloth and Rickety Pinwheel are bad. The VCR causes all TVs across the map to play the projection visual effects whenever you teleport. It sounds like it could be a great mind game, but it just doesn't do much. The little visual effect on the TV is hardly enough to fool anyone. I really wish the actual Sadako model crawled out of the TVs. That way it would be a lot more believable and maybe cause a survivor to run away from a generator. But as it stands, this add-on isn't even annoying to survivors. It's more annoying to the killer. The VCR is bad. There is one final category of add-ons. A category that's so unique, only one add-on gets the privilege of being in it. We have chase add-ons, condemn add-ons, stealth add-ons, information add-ons, and annoying add-ons. But none of those even come close to our final category, dog shit add-ons. Or add-on, because there's only one. Iridescent add-ons are supposed to be a killer's most powerful tool, but I genuinely hate the iridescent videotape. With the iridescent videotape, using your teleport no longer turns off your TVs, but in exchange, it no longer applies any condemn. And on top of that, if that wasn't already bad enough, it actually increases the time it takes for your TVs to turn back on when a survivor turns them off. This is a terrible add-on. The only reason Sadako is actually viable against good teams is because of her condemn ability. Condemn acts as a slowdown of sorts. If a survivor is busy running a tape across the map, they're not sitting on a generator. Like, yes, Sadako gets map control from her TVs, but map control is not what her TVs are for. The TVs are to apply condemn pressure. So what sense does it make to have an add-on that completely takes the condemn out of the TVs? Like, just for the very small perk that the TV doesn't turn off when you teleport to it, especially when survivors can just walk up and turn them off anyways. And that's like what every survivor does. And thanks to the added penalty, now they stay off even longer. Taking away Sadako's core power is not worthy of an iridescent slot. This add-on's so bad, I would literally rather run no add-on at all. There's 19 other add-ons I'd rather run than actively sabotaging my own game. The iridescent videotape is awful. And that's every single Sadako add-on tested, ranked, and put side by side. If seeing the actual visual proof helped you figure out your next build, make sure to hit the subscribe button. I have a P100 Sadako guide dropping later this month, and you definitely don't want to miss it. But even if you have the best Sadako add-ons equipped, we all know that Sadako still has some glaring issues. If you want to see exactly how behavior should fix Sadako, click this video where I break down the perfect Sadako rework.